they face against Italian opposition come into this as strong favourites. Milan hoping to momentarily halt this Juve juggernaut that has destroyed all before them so far. Juventus won 17 of their 19 games in Serie A. They've only lost this season to Manchester United and Young Boys, both of them in the Champions League. They are not far off flawless in domestic action. The last time they were defeated by Italian opposition was April 2018. This is the challenge Milan have in front of them. And we are almost ready for kick-off in this year's Supercoppa. Cristiano Ronaldo, he started his career off. The first trophy he won was the Portuguese Super Cup. Tonight, is he going to make his most recent trophy, the Supercoppa Italiano? As we see the two coaches, Gennaro Gattuso and Max Allegri, very much at different ends of their careers in terms of where they're at with their current clubs. Gennaro Gattuso still trying to prove his worth with Milan. Max Allegri in his 5th season now. And we are underway in the Supercoppa. Milan kick us off. Over the next 2 hours, we're going to find out who is the 2018-19 Supercoppa champions. It is the league winners, of course, as we see Kessie quick on the attack and joining in. The cross has already gone out, though it bends back into play, but an early moment of attacking intent from the Rossoneri. This fixture, as I was saying, is traditionally the league winners against the cup winners. Juventus triumphing in both of those competitions. And Milan have started like a train here. Çalhanoğlu into the box. Can he find the right ball? He was looking for Bakayoko. This is a really, really bright start from Milan. It's exactly the sort of start they needed. A couple of minutes in and they've already ventured forwards twice. It looks as though we've had a brief intervention from the stands. A very early problem in this game. No such problems for Milan, though. They were pouring forward for the first time of asking. And we can get back underway after that brief interruption. Calabria with the throw, it's a long one. Chiellini back there, marshalling a Juventus defence that has been very solid in the opening half of the season. 11 goals conceded in 19 games in Serie A. But Milan, with that bright start, will hoping to ruffle a few feathers. They don't have a great record against Juventus. In truth, not many Italian teams do have a great record against Juventus, but Milan won just one of the last 17 matches they've played in normal time, including extra time as well. As Juventus venture forward for the first time in this Supercoppa. Betancourt, the young Uruguayan midfielder, making waves at Juventus. Cancelo with the step over and then the twist back. Douglas Costa's in a bit of space here, rasps it in and it wasn't far away. Donnarumma had to dive to his right. But if Milan were the first to go forward, Juventus have really shown their power to unlock a defence. It was good work from Cancelo and Douglas Costa. He was really in a battle with Bernardeschi to get in the starting 11 today, and he almost made it count. That is not very far away at all. And for all of Milan's aggressive start, Juventus have gone closest in this opening 4 minutes. It's a long ball up, looking for Cutrone. He'll be in the spotlight today, almost because of the man he's replacing, more for the fact that he's starting today. Gonzalo Higuain has been the talk of the Italian media all week, and maybe even stretching further back than a week. He's deemed not fit enough to start today. And again, Juventus flying forward, but Ricardo Rodriguez watches that crossfield ball well. Both of these teams tonight vying to become the most successful team in the history of the Supercoppa. They both have 7 trophies apiece in this competition. Whoever wins tonight will go outright to the top of the tree with an 8th one. Donnarumma picks a pass really well to Çalhanoğlu. Kessi's going to get bumped off that by Matuidi. Çalhanoğlu has flown in there. That's what Milan need to do. Going to have to win the ball back when there's a bit of urgency about Juventus. Try and win it back in that midfield. Because if that man, the number 7, Cristiano Ronaldo, can get a bit of space in behind that Milan midfield, it more often than not spells trouble and goals. Juventus seeing a lot of the ball in the midfield at the moment. Dybala drifting inside. Pjanic's ball is a bit wayward though. Milan happy to sit back. Everyone behind the ball in situations like that. Cutrone, you know, you're going to get a shift out of the youngster defending from the front. There's so much more to him than just that, as we see Costa whips in the cross. It would have been something very special from Dybala to try and direct it goalwards from there. Gigio Donnarumma to take the goal kick. He was the hero from that 2016 Supercoppa in Doha, saved the penalty, and the villain was the man who just had the header on goal, Paulo Dybala. It was his missed penalty. As we see, Paquetá has found a wonderful ball into the channels for Cutrone, who's going to loft it up, and Çalhanoğlu in fact took the header. I don't think the cross was intended for him, but it did find its way onto his head. Lovely ball from Paquetá, the new sign in the Brazilian, in the centre of midfield, and I think Cutrone was aiming for the man in the middle, particularly Kessi. And Çalhanoğlu, it was just a little bit too close to him. Just fancied trying to get the header in at goal. A man linked with a move away from Milan, of course, Çalhanoğlu. Linked with a move to Red Bull Leipzig. Hasn't materialised, it's believed. That is because Gennaro Gattuso has really put a block on that transfer, saying that he wants the player to stay at Milan. He is a central part of this Milan team. It's another wayward ball from Pjanic, who hasn't quite found his range so far in this opening 9 minutes. And a very heavy challenge from Rodrigo Betancourt. Just following through on that, beaten to it from Bakayoko, who looks as though he's in a bit of trouble, the man on loan from Chelsea. Massimo Allegri continues to bark out the orders. Plenty of fans from all over the world in Jeddah tonight. A pretty even mix of Milan and Juventus. Here we see Paquetá. It was originally him that tried getting it over Betancourt. No sign of any rustiness from Milan so far. They were quick out the blocks, although Juventus have really come into it after that opening couple of minutes. Was a vastly different preparation for both of these sides. As we see, Bakayoko is really struggling, and it may spell the end of the game for him. We'll see if he can return. So Fabio Barini is warming up, which could well suggest it might be the end for Bakayoko. They'll have a quick look at him. As we said, different preparation for both of these teams. Juventus pretty comfortable in the Coppa Italia. Much changed team, running out 2-0 winners against Bologna. It was the same scoreline for Milan against Sampdoria, but they were made to work much harder for it. It was a trickier tie, of course. A trip to the Marassi over a trip to the Renato Dall'Arra. But they were forced to go to extra time, an extra half an hour in the legs of what was a pretty full-strength Milan side. It was Patrick Cutrone who was the hero, though, off the bench for extra time. Bagged a brace and sent them through to the next round. And here's Paquetá, the man that made his debut in that game. Çalhanoğlu onto his right and hits it. First shot at goal for Milan. It was a long way off, though. Szczęsny never worried in the Juventus goal. He can hit them from a long way out. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, 6 goals last season. Got a reputation as a set-piece expert. That wasn't a set-piece, of course, but it was from a long way out and never quite got hold of it. Here's a man who can also score from anywhere, Cristiano Ronaldo. Going to Pjanic. Alexandro with a bit of space, and that is not one he would like to see again. He's got that horribly wrong, the flying fullback. It's not often you'll see a player of his calibre misjudge it quite as much as that. Well, Castillejo is just trying to skip away from Chiellini there. A bit of a misunderstanding in the Juventus backline. It doesn't happen often. Haven't seen much of Castillejo so far. He is an attacking outlet for Milan. Started the game very brightly against Sampdoria in the Coppa Italia on Saturday. It was a game that Milan struggled in for large parts. They did get the victory, though. And Castillejo, when Milan were on top for the opening 20 minutes or so, he was their main outlet. He is a tricky customer, but he hasn't had a chance to show it so far tonight. I should say Bakayoko did return back onto the pitch. Bit of magic spray doing the job for him. It's a ball out from the back from Chiellini. Betancourt in a bit more space than Milan fans would like him to be. Cancelo is going to whip it in. Betancourt had continued his run. Chiellini's ball aiming for Ronaldo was some way off. But Juventus just showing signs of working the ball a little bit better than Milan. Douglas Costa's shot still the closest we've come. No real clear-cut chances you could speak of so far. Calabria on the overlap. Castillejo not really been able to use him there. Poor ball that really needed to go in front of the fullback. Just taken the momentum out of that attack. Still got the ball though, Milan. Castillejo this time finds Kessie, but just breaks down for Milan, who are working hard as you would expect. Players like Kessie and Bakayoko in the centre of that midfield. Kessie in particular. There's more to him than the amount of ground that he covers, but it's a huge asset of his. Alexandro pretty much playing as a left winger at the moment, up from fullback, providing extra width for Juventus. And that's really well worked. Cancelo into the box and drills it. It's just wide. Juventus are really beginning to get on top of this game, and it was the flying fullback, João Cancelo, took it off Ronaldo's toes, which not too many people do, and he's drilled it, and Donnarumma, for the second time tonight, has dived to his right without being too sure where that ball was going, I think. I don't think he was comfortable, and knowing that that was going the right side of the post as far as he's concerned. So Milan under just a little bit of pressure at the moment. I'm sure before this game started they knew they were going to spend some spells without the ball and having to chase down Juventus. Gennaro Gattuso, speaking before the game, said he didn't want to see any fear from his team. I think it would be fair to say we haven't really seen much fear from them. But Juventus, almost so much better than every other Italian club this season, as we see they've won the ball back, a flick from Ronaldo, they'll win the free kick as well. It's not just about being scared of Juventus, you've got to try and match them as well when they're on the ball. We're about 18 minutes or so into this game. And Juventus, they've certainly come closer to grabbing a goal, but it's been quite even. Milan will be happy with how they've started, I think. As Dybala drifted into the channels, Castillejo has tripped him from behind there. It will be a free kick in a dangerous position. Just a little nudge in the back, and then I think a tangle of legs as well. It'll be a chance to get the centre-backs up from the set-piece. Giorgio Chiellini, of course, opened the score in the 2016 final. From a corner, if I remember rightly. This isn't quite a corner, but a similar position. Dybala, the man who was fouled, stands over it. Leonardo Bonucci, of course, had that one season at Milan last season. Dybala whips it in, and in the end it's cleared well. Alessio Romagnoli, the Milan captain, with a big header out from the back. He's the man putting Chiellini under pressure now, but Juventus have kept the ball. And again, Dybala on this left wing will curl it in, but that's too close to Donnarumma. Milan not really been able to get their attacking players into it so far, as we see Castillejo back to Çalhanoğlu, but it was a poor ball, and in fact sold Çalhanoğlu down the river there. The ball just half a yard further forward than where it needed to be. Çalhanoğlu has taken his speed and his momentum straight into Bentancur. I'm still not convinced it was a yellow card particularly, but certainly a foul. There is Leonardo Bonucci. Was Milan captain last season, of course, having made the switch from Juventus in a move that I think it's fair from all sides to say never really worked out as intended. Made the switch back to Juventus this summer. Mattia Caldara going the other way. He's been a long-term injury victim. Still yet to make his Milan debut, Mattia Caldara. Been injured since making the move to the San Siro. That's a fine ball in from Calabria to start this move off. Castillejo trying to dance his away from Pjanic. Doesn't quite come off, but he does well, the Spaniard, to win it back. He's going to get clattered by Matuidi. Play on, says the referee. And here they come down the other side. Ricardo Rodriguez into Cutrone, just trying to touch it off to Paquetá. And Paquetà's won it back while Çalhanoğlu dances around João Cancelo, and he wins the free kick. Good footwork by the Turkish midfielder. Paquetá did well to whip it away from Bentancur, and Çalhanoğlu just clever enough to get away from Cancelo. And it provides Milan with a really good opportunity to whip the ball in. No shots on goal. Certainly Donnarumma been the more worried of the goalkeepers. Szczęsny had very, very little to concern him so far. That might be changing here, though. Çalhanoğlu stands over it. 6 in the box. Çalhanoğlu whips it in. It's straight against Dybala. It is the first corner of the game. A bit of a wasted opportunity, really, but he will get another chance. The same big man, I'm sure, will stay forward. Çalhanoğlu to whip it in again. Szczesny's come and not got it. It come through to Bakayoko. The danger's not over yet. Castillejo turns it goalwards, but that's over. But that was a very nervy moment for Szczesny and the Juventus defence. We said he'd had nothing to do so far. He had something to do there and he got it horribly wrong. And that might just give Milan a little bit of confidence, get those crosses in. And they've won it back again, and Castillejo has a bit of space, rolls it in. It's a poor ball in the end. For a player in that position with so much time, he should have found a better ball than that. And again, Juventus are dispossessed. Milan have got their tails up. Çalhanoğlu needs an out ball. It's provided by Calabria. So Milan got a bit of momentum behind them. Can they create an opportunity with this attack? Paquetá, quick feet, doing well and provides the overlap as well. Has to go back to Çalhanoğlu. And spread it out to Calabria. Milan just growing in confidence. I think the cross is going to come in. Bakayoko's in the middle. Good spout for Milan as we approach the 25-minute mark. Donnarumma plays it out from the back. He's seen the highs and the lows against Juventus, of course. Remember the old lady defeating the Rossoneri 4-0 in the Coppa Italia final back at the end of last season. Donnarumma at fault for a couple of those goals, and he might have some work to do here. Sandro's ball in a dangerous position. Zapata does well just to watch it. Oh, and Castillejo's been caught by Alexandro there in a foul that looked very painful and results in a yellow card. The first one of the game for a Juventus player. Looked as though he's just caught him on the back of the heel there. You could hear Castillejo yelping out in pain, and that's why. That is a very, very nasty one from the Brazilian fullback. Castillejo back up again. Here's Cristiano Ronaldo, just gone over onto that far side, trying to get into the game. Strange to say, but he hasn't really had any effect on the game so far. I'm quite sure he'll make me eat my words at some point. As we see Chiellini look to spread the play. It was awkward, but it's got the job done somehow. Douglas Costa goes one way and then the other. Can he deliver the right ball? He can. Ronaldo is in the middle. It's too high for him, though. A bit of a discussion between the two. In truth, it was really the quality of the ball that was lacking. You'd have to be Peter Crouch to get onto the end of that one, and even he might struggle. A penny for your thoughts, Massimo. It's been a bit of a stop-start opening, almost half an hour to this game. A game of few clear-cut chances, a couple of dangerous moments for Milan as Cancelo and Douglas Costa went close. The brightest moment so far for the Rossoneri was when Szczęsny came and flapped at a corner. The ball just didn't fall nicely for a Milan player, though. This is well worked out from the back by Juventus. Ronaldo just giving it off, and then he'll be in the box, waiting for the cross. It's going to come from Douglas Costa with the outside of the foot. The sort of cross that if you get it right, it'll be spectacular, but that was straight down the throat of Gigio Donnarumma. It's end-to-end so far. Milan with Castillejo's cross in is low. It's fallen nicely for Kessie. He's going to win a corner. And given how the last one went, that's no bad thing for Milan. The delivery's got to be right, though. The nerves will be going for Wojciech Szczęsny. If they can get a teasing delivery in to try and test the Polish goalkeeper. They've got the short option as well, but they've got 5 red and black jerseys in the box. And Castillejo is going to deliver it with his left. It is a good delivery into the near post. Juventus have scrambled it clear, and there might be a break on here. Dybala and Ronaldo trying to get up with Douglas Costa. Which way does he go? It's on to Ronaldo, who chips it up. The ball is poor, though. It comes to Chiellini, of all people, who's blasted it a long way over. The Juventus captain, I'm not sure why he was the first person on the scene. Remember, this all come from a dangerous Milan corner. In the end, the move was really wasted by Cristiano Ronaldo. Surprisingly, his little chip up, it had to get over Kessie. It didn't. Kessie's header wasn't convincing. But Chiellini, not the man you want on the end of that chance. But maybe a few question marks about Milan in terms of how they were able to go from having a corner to a 3-on-2 situation. Here come Juventus again. Douglas Costa charged down well by Paquetá. Not in the team for his defensive work, but he's done a good job there. A few complaints from the Milan players, possibly thinking it should have been a goal kick. It will be a corner, though. Donnarumma barks out the orders. Plenty of players in the box. It's a crowded penalty area. Pjanic's ball in is far too long. Free kick given anyway, but it wouldn't have mattered. It was a poor delivery. Still, the discussion goes on. It's not entirely sure what the argument is about, but the game goes on. And Çalhanoğlu will roll in Cutrone here. The flag is up, though. The young striker just missed timing his run there. Very, very marginally, you might even argue he was onside there. Alexandro down this near side. It looked as though his foot was closer to the goal than Cutrone's, but the flag went up. And there's Ronaldo with the turn, trying to get it onto his right. Too many red and black shirts for him to get a shot away. And Pjanic, once again, is just a bit off with his passing. Not had the best opening 33 minutes to this game. Douglas Costa on his left will fancy this one. Can he get the shot away? Rolls it into Matuidi, who's going to bundle it home. The offside flag is up, though. It did look as though he was a yard or so offside. Good work from Douglas Costa, though. Shape to shoot and then just rolled the ball through. And forget the yard, he's a good 2-3 metres offside. There's Matuidi. It's a dangerous moment for Milan, though, but the offside flag, you could say, coming to their rescue, but also it was a long, long way offside, and the defence had held their line. We do have VAR in action tonight. It is always a bit strange nowadays in Italian football to see the linesmen raise their flag so early, certainly with the Matuidi one. There was no doubt about it. It was obvious, as we see Paquetá with lovely feet. Done that a few times, beginning to show why Milan have spent so much money on him. It was a quiet debut against Sampdoria, but he looks as though he's up for this one tonight. Castillejo's ball in to Çalhanoğlu, just bullied out of it by Bonucci. And now Ronaldo got the one-on-one with Rodriguez. Might fancy his chances as well. There's the step-overs as he got the final ball into Douglas Costa. And back to Pjanic, who will look to curl it. And still, his radar not quite fixed on tonight's game so far. Everything was good in the move up until that point. But I think Milan so far will be happy with how the game's gone. There's always going to be periods of any game, as I've said before, against Juventus, where you have to concede possession and sit back and keep them out. They're going to have to do that here again. Cancelo going all the way. Blocked by Romagnoli in the end. Alexandro again in an advanced position. Whipped all the way through. He's a little bit lucky that Cancelo is on the end of that. But it breaks down for Juventus. Have to say, don't look as though they've clicked into top gear. That's one back well. And Dybala into Ronaldo. Is he going to hit it with his left? He is. Bakayoko closes it down. Almost a moment of anticipation every time Ronaldo gets the ball in a shooting position. As we said, though, for Cristiano Ronaldo, it's been quite a slow day so far in a game that hasn't really lived up to its billing at the moment as we approach almost the final 5 minutes of the first half. Douglas Costa has looked lively. And he'll get it again. Can he find the right ball, though? Twists back into Rodriguez, who does really well to just telegraph that. The locals are enjoying it, even if it hasn't quite been the blockbuster that some people are expecting. As the corner's whipped in, Donnarumma's underneath it and punches it. That would have been a nervy moment for the big goalkeeper, given what happened in the Coppa Italia. Some elementary errors at fault for a couple of the 4 goals that Juventus put past the Rossoneri. But he dealt with that one. Although there is more danger on the horizon. Castillejo brings down Alexandro. Not for the first time in that left wing position. Milan need to try and give Sandro something to worry about defensively, because at the moment he's almost got the free rein of playing as an out-and-out left winger. Really need Castillejo to try and cause him some trouble in the Juventus half. As the Mexican wave goes up, Paulo Dybala stands over the free kick. Milan will not want to concede off a set-piece, having done so well so far. Dybala whips it in. Romagnoli took that off the toe of Ronaldo. Big clearance from the Milan captain. And Juventus have messed that up because Douglas Costa was in space. There's Paquetá. Twisted back and then never really had an option other than to go back to his fullback. Well, the cheers are ringing around the stadium in Jeddah. The atmosphere has come to life here in Saudi Arabia, but the players not quite done their bit on the pitch. Although, as we said, Milan should be pretty satisfied with how it's gone so far. I think if you told them approaching half-time it would have been an even game, they would have been happy with that. But remember, Juventus are the masters of getting the results they need. They're not always the most spectacular. Lots of 1 and 2-0s. Remember, it was 0-0 in the Coppa Italia final back in May, and it ended 4-0 to Juventus. And here come the old lady. Alexandro's cross charged down. Nicely worked by Chiellini, and the cross is going to come to Ronaldo, who hits it into the ground, and it bounces over the bar. It's the first sight of goal that Cristiano Ronaldo has had. And such is the high levels of expectation of him, you wonder if he might feel he should have done better. Didn't quite connect with it. It would have been spectacular. The ball in from Alexandro. And we've seen spectacular goals from Ronaldo against Juventus, most notably last season, of course, but he was trying to get one for the old lady and it didn't quite come off. That was a dangerous moment for Milan, as we see another yellow card. Miralem Pjanic flying in there. And I'm not really sure there was a need to. But the warning sign for Milan from that Ronaldo half chance was certainly that a man of his quality got a full sight of goal from all of about 8 yards out. That will be a concern for Gennaro Gattuso and the Milan defence. That booking for Pjanic does mean he'll miss the game against Chievo next in the league, as we see Paquetá rolls it across looking for Cutrone. Chiellini, as ever, in the right place at the right time. There's a bit of trouble here, and Çalhanoğlu will get into the box. Going to pull it back, Paquetá. Not a lot of room in there to work. It breaks for Çalhanoğlu, who drills it. And Szczęsny has to get down to save. It's the first save that Szczęsny's had to make. And it was an awkward one. It was right down at his feet. The Juventus defence were waiting for offside, but it actually came off a black and white shirt, I believe. That's why the flag wasn't up. And is there going to be late drama in the first half? Dybala cuts inside, breaks nicely for Ronaldo off the deflection. The cross comes in, Zapata has to get rid of it. Not thoroughly convincingly, but eventually Milan gets some sort of control over their play. Still looking for the ball out from the back. Çalhanoğlu looks to spread the play. That's over Castillejo's head. And this was a Çalhanoğlu shot. He's offside when that ball's played, but it does bounce off Chiellini. And now Milan come forward, Cutrone. There's a lot of Juventus defenders there, though. Breaks nicely for Calabria. 2 minutes extra we'll have in this first half. We've played one of them, and Castillejo again has flown into a challenge. And eventually is booked, and not really before time. I'm not sure where he learned to tackle, but he might have to go back to the training ground on that, because that's 3 fairly obvious fouls he's made. People of a certain vintage may say a bit Paul Scholes-esque with his tackling. He likes to make one, but doesn't always get it right. And that is the end of the first half in what has been a pretty even affair. Milan have just about matched Juventus. The old lady maybe having a bit more of the ball. Chances have been few and far between. Cristiano Ronaldo, his one sight of goal came with an acrobatic volley from about 8 yards out that bounced over the bar. And Gennaro Gattuso, who we see in the screen there, I think will be happy. Never looks too happy, does he? But Milan have equipped themselves well in that first half. To give you an idea of how well. No shots on target for Juventus for just the second time in the first half of any game this season. That's good reading for the tifosi of the Rossoneri. As we see Gonzalo Higuain, the first time we've seen him, he looks ready to come on, or almost ready. Looks to me like he will be introduced. Remember, didn't start today after a week or two full of transfer speculation, as Paulo Dybala gets us back underway. The second half of the Supercoppa. And we will find out over the next 45 minutes, possibly even more. Remember, extra time and penalties on the menu if no one can find a way through, or if scores are level. at the end of the game. But Gonzalo Higuain is imminent. Not brought on exactly at half-time, but he will be coming on. The man who so many words have been written about already in this January transfer window. The rumours of him going to Chelsea just keep on going, as we see an early free kick for Juventus. Bakayoko just a push in the back of Dybala. So it will provide a striking opportunity for Cristiano Ronaldo. Just saw one sight at goal. The whole stadium rises to its feet to watch the spectacle. Ronaldo will hit it, it's into the wall. Unfortunately for Milan, it fell nicely. Ricardo Rodriguez cleared. So as usual with any Ronaldo free kick, the anticipation was there. What was missing this time was the execution. And here he is again. Falls to the floor, no free kick given. Hands are in the air, but the referee's not going to change his mind. Castillejo has got a big challenge on his hands. Far too many white and black shirts in front of him and not enough teammates, but Çalhanoğlu's in some space here. If he can get the shot away, he hits the deck. Cutrone hits it and it's off the bar. And early in this second half, we've come closest to a goal, and it is Patrick Cutrone with his left foot has rattled the bar. He'd beaten Szczęsny. It was a good move from Milan. Çalhanoğlu got into some space. A bit of fortune about how it came to Cutrone. But that striker's instinct that he seems to have got a shot away, and that is how close Milan came to taking the lead in this year's Supercoppa. That'll be a shock to Juventus's system. They will look to respond with that long ball over the top. But that is what Cutrone brings. We said in the first half, you know you're going to get a shift out of him up front as well. He's going to work the defenders hard. He also brings a bag full of passion with him as well for the club. But above all else, he seems to be a finisher that knows where the back of the net is. We saw it on Saturday against Sampdoria, off the bench for extra time and bagged a brace. And he was very, very close to giving Milan the lead. Oh, and Sandro's cross could have gone anywhere. It just took a little flick off Calabria. And here's Cutrone again with Chiellini and Bonucci for company. Kessie's joined in. Paquetá and Çalhanoğlu are joining in. If Kessie can find the ball, then he can't, and that is a real waste, because that was a golden opportunity to feed one of his two teammates to his left. In the end, Juventus did well to get the bodies around him, but Frank Kessie knows that he should have done better with that. We haven't seen Milan on the counter-attack too much. That was the best they've done so far in the match in terms of trying to catch Juventus on the hop. But that final ball from Frank Kessie was just found wanting. Now Juventus come forward. Cancelo has the one-on-one. He'll go beyond Çalhanoğlu and try and just stand it up. Çalhanoğlu does well, though. This was a Cutrone chance again with his left foot. And that has thundered off the bar. And even he's wondering how that one stayed out. So Juventus have a corner, Dybala whips it in, Donnarumma very comfortable. Can even find the quick release, and now Kessie again can go on the counter-attack. His engine's not going to let him down. Will the final ball, he finds Cutrone, it just skips off the head of the Juventus defender. It's Douglas Costa, in fact, that had sprinted back. A little bit of frustration for Kessie. He knows he should have done better on that first counter-attack. Quick touch for Paquetá there, the Brazilian, making just his second appearance for Milan. Impressed in the first half. It was more of a good overall team performance by Milan, but Paquetá just showed a bit of potential as to why he was so sought after and why Milan have spent big bucks on him. Szczesny's let that run across his body. Cutrone was hunting him down. Çalhanoğlu rolled into Paquetá. Not too much movement in front of him, and in the end Pjanic can dispossess him. But Milan now hunted in numbers. Douglas Costa's got the acceleration to burn away from them. And that's Castillejo again with the foul. He's got to be careful. And here's Douglas Costa up the other end now, whips it in. It's a dangerous ball, just curling towards goal a little bit too quick. Cristiano Ronaldo always losing that race to try and get on the end of that one. He's into a good area, but you can just see there, just curling away from the man known as CR7. Ronaldo goes past two and into the box. Can he find the ball? Claims of a handball against Zapata. Nothing given on that one. Looked as though the defender could do very little about it. I don't think his arm was out away from his body. Milan try and launch the counter. Castillejo's going to hit it from a long way out. Would have been something spectacular. It's a fine switched ball from Bentancur, and again Ronaldo's on the run, goes inside of Zapata, rolls it off to Pjanic, running out of options though going forward. Juventus, Matuidi will whip it in. It should be dealt with by Romagnoli, but the game's just suddenly got a bit of tempo to it. Maybe what we were lacking in the first half. This is the handball shout as the cross came in, hands down by the side, absolutely nothing in that. It did hit the arm, but there's no way there that Christian Zapata is trying to gain an advantage. You see the arms down by the side. Good decision by referee Luca Banti. Pjanic's ball in is dangerous, and Ricardo Rodriguez does really well to stoop down and head that clear. Here's Cutrone holding the ball up. It was the right idea from Bakayoko. You can see what he was trying to do, and Cutrone is going to win that back. Paquetá as Çalhanoğlu. He's going to go alone. Took it on his left foot. You can see the frustration from Çalhanoğlu. So it's on a knife edge, this tie now. Both teams going forward. That flick on for Paquetá. Cutrone not quite got the pace. If there's one thing that might be lacking from his game, he isn't the quickest, but it never stopped. Some of the great strikers that have played for Milan. Pippo Inzaghi being the obvious one. Never quite the quickest. Never stopped him bagging the goals and bagging the honours as well during his career. Milan are doing a really good job of forcing Juventus to go either backwards or horizontally. That's a good switch ball to Douglas Costa, who fancy the one-on-one. Good cross in with the left foot. Doesn't quite get over the first man. Go back on his left again and roll it off to Pjanic, who, not for the first time, we've seen a long-range shot some way off where it needed to be. The tricky customer, Douglas Costa, can just always seems to just be able to shift it beyond the defender. As we see Gonzalo Higuain. It did look as though he was preparing to come on just after the half-time break, but maybe we saw something that wasn't actually happening because he's still down there on the touchline. That's a fine spread of the play to Ronaldo, who's up against Calabria. Goes on his right, and he's going to go for goal. Donnarumma pushes it away. It was too hot to handle, but he's done well, the goalkeeper. It's a lovely spread of the play by Dybala to get that move going. And Ronaldo just shifts it to give himself half a yard or so. And Donnarumma taking no chances. It will be a corner, though. Taken by Dybala, swinged in deep. Ronaldo's there. Rodriguez it was who got the header. Matuidi gives away the free kick. So this second half proving an entertaining affair so far for the opening quarter of an hour of it. Cutrone, of course, very early on in this second half, going close off the bar with a strike. Ronaldo, we see there, forcing a save out of Donnarumma. But both sides look as though they're just becoming a little bit more adventurous now. Castillejo in a bit of space. Can he find the right ball? He can't. He's not had a good game, Castillejo. He's been wild with the tackles as he looks to try and make another one. He's got to be careful. He's on a booking, remember. But Milan are doing really well in this second half. They match Juventus in the first. You might argue they've been the better team in this second. Castillejo comes forward again. Çalhanoğlu on this near side up against Cancelo. The cross is blocked first time. It's going to go back to Castillejo, needs a wide option. Worked well to Çalhanoğlu, who's going to hit it and curl it round. And Szczęsny just watches it wide of the post. And this is a good performance from Milan. Growing into this second half, or growing into the game, would be more accurate. The first half seemed to be more about shutting Juventus out. But in this second half, they're really taking the game to the old lady. But the danger is, of course, Juventus, almost like a machine at times, know how to win games. They come forward here, Matuidi switches back to Pjanic. The cross goes in, Ronaldo's in space and will get the header away beyond Donnarumma, and Juventus have the lead. And as impressive as Milan have been in this second half, they now trail, and it is Cristiano Ronaldo. A sucker punch for the Rossoneri. And if it was going to be delivered by anybody, it would have been Cristiano Ronaldo. He's the main attraction, and he's on the score sheet. Milan claims of offside. Pjanic's ball was in. It's mightily tight. The cross was deflected as well. It's almost gone through Donnarumma. I have to say, not too much I think the goalkeeper can do, given it's from short range. It's a glancing header. All eyes on the referee's assistant. You see Romagnoli claiming it there, but Cristiano Ronaldo has given Juventus the lead. That is what the 60-odd thousand people in this stadium came to see. And now Milan, for all their good play, for all their hard work, they will have to come from behind. And this will be a big test for them. Because after that disastrous exit from the Europa League, questions about the mentality of this Milan side when the chips are down, when something goes against them. Now we'll see. Just had to be Cristiano Ronaldo, didn't it? Scored 18 goals in 27 finals throughout his long and industrious, or illustrious, should I say, career. Well, he's just made it 19 in 28. And credit should also go to Miralem Pjanic. Hasn't had the best of games in terms of his passing, which is normally one of his strong points. But he was spot on with that cross into the box that found Ronaldo in space. And Milan now have got to try and react. This was the ball from Pjanic. Ronaldo timed his run, spot on. And there is the VAR review. Rodriguez's foot just playing Ronaldo onside. It was the perfect ball, it was the perfectly timed run. And as we see, it did go through the hands of Gigio Donnarumma. I'm not sure too much blame can be laid at his door. And it looks as though that assist is one of the last actions of the game for Miralem Pjanic. He's going to be replaced by Emre Can. As we said, it hasn't been the best of games from Pjanic, but he's made up for it all with that assist.
Miralem Pjanic, replaced by number 23, Emre Can.
So how can Milan respond to that? That goal coming just, as I was saying, about Juventus's ability to just find ways to win games, even when they're not on top of the games, even when they're not playing to the best of their ability. And they've just proved the point there. They have the lead in this Supercoppa, despite Milan looking the better of the two teams in this second half. A reminder, though, still a long way to go, 25 minutes more or less. And of course, Milan were behind in 2016 in the Supercoppa in Doha. They trailed to a Chiellini goal. They got themselves back level and then took the trophy on penalties. The bad news for them is the two players that combined for that equaliser are both out of this game. And is it about to get worse for them? Cancelo will whip it in. Great delivery, just a little bit too high for Ronaldo. Douglas Costa keeps it in and goes round one. Can he find the right ball? It's going to come to Ronaldo, who goes down, looks to the referee, nothing given. That's a fine ball out from the back, and Cutrone has Çalhanoğlu in the middle, turns back and needs some more options. Castillejo's touch is heavy, does well to go round one, but he's dispossessed. He's having a difficult night out there, Samuel Castillejo. Douglas Costa running into a sea of red and black, but somehow it comes out as Ronaldo's ball. Still Juventus have it in a promising position. Dybala finding a bit of space on his left, and he'll get it back, and the ball's on to Matuidi. Surely there's an offside in there somewhere between Matuidi and Dybala. They'll have to cancel the Fratellis because that goal is going to be ruled out. The fireworks are on a little bit too early. It was a nice move, but somewhere between that ball to Matuidi and that ball back to Dybala, one of them must have been offside, and it was the case. Dybala just straying in front of Matuidi. Of course, if he'd been behind Matuidi as he played the ball, the ref is going to check it with VAR. So there will be a decision to make. It looked to me like Dybala was just ahead of Matuidi for the second pass. So Milan live to fight another day in this game. Castillejo's dispossessed again. And Juventus are now the ones happy to sit back. They're not afraid of defending. Juventus under Max Allegri is actually something that he was questioned about in the press conference before this game. And he remained steadfast in his opinion that on the defensive performances, it's something they should be proud of. They've executed a plan well. And that's something he's quite happy with, understandably. It's not always the easiest to watch, but it's very, very effective. As we see this disallowed goal, Matuidi was also offside as well as Dybala. I said one or two of them might be offside. In the end, both of them were. And two changes for Milan. It's going to be Castillejo and Gonzalo Higuain. The man who has filled almost every column inch there was going in the Italian sporting press this week. He is brought on for Samuel Castillejo. And Fabio Borini is the other man brought on. But it's now time for Gonzalo Higuain in what could be his last game for Milan. Who knows at what point those negotiations are for him to make his move to Chelsea. Remember, he's still technically on loan from Juventus at Milan. It's a move that they can make permanent in the summer. That looks very, very unlikely. And Higuain, who is having one of the most difficult seasons in his recent career, at least. Now has a chance in the Supercoppa to write his name into the history of this competition. We can say Paquetá was the other player that came off. Had a decent first half, not so instrumental in the second. So it's Paquetá, Castillejo off, Barini and Gonzalo Higuain. He's got just under 20 minutes to try and affect this game, Gonzalo Higuain. Oh, and Kessie's left a foot in there, and will go in the book. So Milan need a hero to try and get back on that. That is a very late challenge from Kessie. Left his mark on Emre Can, who still looks in a little bit of difficulty. As Bonucci and Gennaro Gattuso become a bit closer acquainted. They will, of course, know each other from the time Bonucci spent, the brief time Bonucci spent at the Rossoneri. As the players take a little bit of a breather, and it looks as though the referee might be having a look on VAR, and I think he might be having a look at that Kessie challenge, because it was late. There was an element of studs up, and you see there, it's just where did he make the contact on the leg almost. And the referee's got a decision to make here. And Luca Banti has had a look at that. And it looks as though this could be a straight red card. It is. Frank Kessie is sent off in the Supercoppa. Romagnoli, the captain, not happy, but the Ivorian midfielder has gone up with stud showing. It was very late. And Luca Banti has had a look at the video and not liked what he has seen. And Milan now, if they had a mountain to climb before, it just got a whole lot more difficult. It's a very, very bad challenge from Frank Kessie. You see how high he's gone in there. I have to say, the first replay we saw of it, it looked as though it was more below the ankle, but look at that, he's hit him right on the shin, and then his foot's deflected down onto the top of Emre Can's foot, and there can be no argument, really. The referee has had a good look at it and sent him off, and Milan are going to have to come from behind with 10 men if they are going to prolong this Supercoppa tie, because at the moment we're about 15 minutes away from a Juventus victory. They haven't always had it their own way in the Supercoppa. This is a 7th consecutive appearance. Of course, dominating Serie A will automatically get you in the Supercoppa, but they have lost 3 of the last 4. But at the moment they are on their way, possibly to another Super Coppa trophy. There's Douglas Costa drifting inside. Ronaldo going back on his right. Bit of space for Betancourt. Can he find the right ball? It's too deep. Alexandro will do well to keep that in, and he won't do. So where do Milan go from here? There's Ronaldo onto Douglas Costa. Didn't fancy it on his right. Well, Matuidi's ball is a bit loose. You can see how many players back for Milan, though. Cutrone is almost playing as a wide left midfielder at the moment. You wonder if it'll need a reorganisation, because aside from losing the man, you've lost the real engine of that midfield. Covers a lot of ground, Kessie. And here come Juventus looking for a second. The deflection's awkward. Donnarumma has to palm it away at the near post. That was very, very scrappy, but he did just enough, the goalkeeper. It was Alexandro's ball. It took a deflection off Calabria, and that was sneaking into the near post. Donnarumma alert enough to keep it out. But at the moment, Milan just chasing shadows. And it now looks a long way back for Milan. Struggling to even get hold of the ball at the moment. This is not the team you want to be down to 10 men against. Andrea Conti is ready and prepped to come on, the right back. He was instrumental in that Coppa Italia tie against Sampdoria, came on in the first half of extra time and assisted Cutrone's first goal. I wonder if that'll be like for Calabria. So Andrea Conti working his way back from that long-term injury, of course. Made his comeback at the end of last year. We'll be getting a few more minutes, but looking a bit more short-term. He'll be asked with trying to find a way back into this tie. It was Patrick Cutrone who made way for Andrea Conti. So briefly, Milan had two strikers on the bench, or on the pitch, should I say. But it only lasted a few minutes. That red card really changing how Milan have got to set up. Calabria looks as though he's gone in an advanced position. Looks as though he's going to be playing right midfield. Conti will go in at full-back. And you would think if there's one team that know how to see out a winning position in Italian football, it is Juventus. That man advantage only making it a little bit easier. There's a bit of space for Barini, got the one-on-one with Bonucci, looking for Higuain. Barely touched the ball since coming on. Higuain, by no means his fault, though. He is going to be quite the isolated figure up there by himself. Did cut a frustrated figure in the Coppa Italia on Saturday as well. Barely got into the game. As we see Ronaldo pouring forward. Plenty of red and black shirts back. Going to be hit from a long way out. That's a disappointing end to what for a moment looked like a promising position. Borini in a bit of space, just lost the ball in his feet. Higuain dropping deep. And he'll get it back as well. It's a heavy touch, though. Remember, the last time Higuain faced off against Juventus, it was that game earlier in the season at the San Siro. So we see a yellow card for Calabria. But it wasn't a happy ending for Higuain at the San Siro against Juventus earlier in the season. Missed a penalty, was then sent off later on and really had a meltdown. It's the only real way you can describe what we saw. Is he going to forge a happier memory of facing his former team? It looks as though Betancourt has a problem as well. Just pulling up sharply after a late tackle on him. Here's Matuidi on that far side. The cross is deep. Might even stay in for Douglas Costa. If it hasn't already curled out, it has. It's difficult for Milan, but at some point they've got to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at Juventus and take some risks. When that time comes, who knows, but they're fast running out of time. Zapata joining in the attack now, maybe an indication that they're going forward. Higuain giving the ball away. Good ball forward from Bakayoko. Calabria is up there. Now they're beginning to get more players in attacking positions. Of course, it will mean there's a lot more space once Juventus try and counter, although they're not committing too many players forward. Ronaldo, round one. He is the match winner as it stands. You can see Rodrigo Betancourt still struggling, the number 30 in the bottom left of your screen. Would imagine he will make way shortly. Remember, Juventus have only used one substitution. You see Douglas Costa back to Dybala. He'll fancy that on his left. He's closed down really quickly by Borini. But Juventus have it back. Pinned in the Milan half at the moment. The Rossoneri have won it back. They have to do better in possession. They're not going to have too much of the ball in this closing 5 minutes. When they get it, they have to make it count. And all they've done is given it back. Cancelo whips it in to nobody at the back post. There's the man that at the moment is the difference. 61st minute goal on the hour mark. Bernardeschi is going to be introduced. It is going to be for Rodrigo Betancourt. Just pulled up with what looked like a slight twinge. It's going to be the end of the game for the Uruguayan. And Federico Bernardeschi, the former Fiorentina man. This was Betancourt just feeling the effect of what was possibly a knock on the knee from Çalhanoğlu. Here comes Cancelo, given the freedom of the pitch, just ran into Rodriguez in the end. There's Barini, he's got men in front of him. In fact, it's Barini there to Higuain, rolls it in and gets it back. Higuain, not too much in support. Against Chiellini, goes all the way back. It's a decent ball to Çalhanoğlu. He's got a twist back on his left, stands it up. Chiellini hacks it clear. Now a bit of pressure coming from Milan. Zapata. He'll go back to Çalhanoğlu, will roll it in. Conti on the end of it. Blocked well by a Juventus defender, but a bit of pressure from Milan. There's not long left in this game, and that is what they've got to do if they're going to find a way back into this game. Ricardo Rodriguez very blatantly going in the book. This was the moment. Çalhanoğlu's low cross. Andrea Conti it was in there. Emre Can with the big tackle. Zapata was also in there. So Milan, as you would expect, are giving this a go now. The right back was in the box. The centre back was there as well. You see Zapata hacking it against the defender. We see Pavel Nedved there, vice president of Juventus, of course. There might be a few minutes to add on to this game. There's been quite a few stoppages. Emre Can was down for a while. There's another problem, this time with Douglas Costa. So Milan might just have a few more minutes than they were expecting. But they have to get the ball back, and Juventus are a very difficult team to play against when they have the lead. That's when it's 11 against 11. Remember, Milan down to 10 men if you're just joining us. Kessie sent off for a high studs-up tackle in the 74th minute. And this is Douglas Costa, who desperately needs to be replaced. Juventus are still coming forward. Dybala onto his left. Will he get the shot away? He will. It takes a deflection. It will be a corner. Looks as though Khedira is going to make way for Douglas Costa. That's Juventus' final substitution. And Milan now are camped in the wrong end of the pitch as far as they're concerned. Dybala whips it in, it'll be cleared. It's a good take from Higuain. He will try and start this move off. He's done well, Gonzalo Higuain. Calabria's up there. There's a lack of red and black joining in the attack. Now there's men forward, but Juventus have got back. Zapata, Conti thinking about whipping it in from deep. There's no forward ball, and Rodriguez is under pressure there, and he's lost out. And this could be a chance to kill the game. Bernardeschi has space in front of him, and he's got fresh legs. Çalhanoğlu's got back. Bernardeschi will go on his left, and he doesn't find Ronaldo. And now we go up the other end of the pitch. Calabria brings it down. Here's Borini. Only Higuain to aim for. Mission impossible. 5 minutes will be added on. Borini will want to win a throw in there, he has done. So 5 minutes for Milan to find what would be an unlikely equaliser. Long, hopeful ball swallowed up by Chiellini. And now there's space, Ronaldo. And it's 4-on-2 at the moment. Matuidi's there, Dybala's there. Ronaldo goes alone, fires it straight at Donnarumma. And if Milan get back into this game, that could prove costly, because he had men over. Çalhanoğlu skips past Emre Can. Needs a bit of movement. Now he's got the option. The cross has got to come in. Oh, it's really poor. Matuidi comfortably cutting that one out. Calabria was the man who wasted the opportunity. Conte's won his team a throw-in. We've done 1 minute of the 5. What can Milan muster in the dying moments of this Supercoppa? They're making a decent fist of it, given they've got 10 men. Conte's in behind here. Doesn't win the header, but Calabria should bring that ball down. Under pressure and down a cul-de-sac. He's done well, Calabria. Oh, the final ball's missing, but it breaks to Higuain. Rolling it in, it almost looked as though it's going to come back to Higuain, who hasn't had a sniff, really, since he's been on. Playing up front by himself with 10 men. Zapata's going to play this into Çalhanoğlu, who tries to lay it off. Juventus not keeping the ball well here and gifting it back to Milan. Touch from Borini's heavy. The cross is going to be closed down. It's hacked forward. It's a little bit messy from both teams, to be honest. Juventus not keeping the ball, now they are. Dybala needs to give it back to Bernardeschi. Was the right ball, couldn't get it away to him though. We've got about 3 minutes of the extra time on. And now Juventus will just try and kill it and run down the clock. Remember, despite their successes, despite how dominant and rampant they are in Italian football, Juventus have lost the last 2 Supercoppa finals. They are now very close to breaking that. And that was a throw-in looking for Khedira. It's given Milan possession back. We're in the last throws of the dice. Well worked out from the back by Zapata. Higuain is very, very deep. Will surely get a free kick there off Dybala. And now, is it going to be the case of punting it into the box? It is. The long ball is won by Borini. It's going to come back to Donnarumma, who's got to deliver this upfield. There is not a long time left. Donnarumma goes long. It's not won on the first ball, and if Juventus win possession back, it might well be game over. They have it. Here's Emre Can on the run. Dybala was there. They'll just kill a bit of time. Milan are out on their feet. And this could be a pedestrian ending to this year's Supercoppa. And if Juventus can keep the ball, which they are doing with ease, for about another 30 seconds, I think, is about what's left. They will have won yet another trophy. And Juventus have won the Supercoppa. It was a valiant performance from Milan. They were caught with a sucker punch from Ronaldo on the half-hour mark. The 61st minute header from Ronaldo from a good cross in from Pjanic. Milan's task, which was already hard, was made impossible by Frank Kessie's sending off with 15 minutes to go. There was no way back for Milan. They looked a beaten team. They are a beaten team. There's not too much disgrace in how they lost this game. But Juventus, ever the efficiency. Milan surround the referee. But Juventus have seen this game out with relative ease, especially once Frank Kessie sent off with quarter of an hour to go. So the first silverware of the season goes to Juventus. You can almost guarantee it's not going to be the last silverware of the season for Juventus, given the standings in Serie A. It's his first trophy in Italian football, and it was his goal, Cristiano Ronaldo,